awesome. Welcome everyone to the kitchen. From the house today. Right, Chef Kyla? Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
You're very quiet.
Am I quiet for once?
I know, for once.
There we go. How's that? Is that a little bit better? Is that a little bit better?
A little bit better.
Is that a little bit better? Here we go. Fancy toys. We'll turn that up. I'll turn the tunes down. There we go. All right. How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. It's over to you. What are we doing? What are we doing? First of all,
well, yeah, as we saw in the intro today, we are going to be building bowls, but it's not just about that. It's about summer trends. Let's start, if we haven't already started planning for that, how can we make bowls a part of that? We know that they have sustained their popularity for quite some time now. So we have some great things to show you. Lots of versatile dressings and sauces that can work across the menu. We'll talk a little bit about summer trends. I'm so lucky to have my colleague Malika here with me. She's going to talk about some insights that we've been seeing in the market, what's trending, what's going to be trending. I know that's always the stuff that we want to know. So it's very exciting, Jay, if I say so myself.
Yeah, that's I'm pumped. And Malika, you got 6 bombs you're going to share with us today on
Yeah, I have 6 bombs to share. So basically, hi everyone, and I'm happy to be here again today. I've pulled some menu trends from Data Essential that I'll share throughout the session today around bowls. But first, let me say that bowls are totally on the rise right now, showing an increase in penetration on menus of plus 47.2%. And that's across all segments, with the highest growth seen in regional chains and mid-scale dining. Mid-scale dining, we know have a lot, probably takeout options, and bowls are definitely a portable item, so it's a perfect fit. They're also strongly making their way into casual dining, where they can easily be integrated into this type of menu. And you'll see a lot of inspiration around that with Chef Kyla today.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Malika. What I did want to kind of cover first was the basics of bowl building. And you know what, as much as how do you define a bowl, whether it's your poke bowl, your protein bowl, your Buddha bowl, there's so many different names for it. And it's not just throwing ingredients into a bowl. It's not that easy. We do have to have a little bit more consideration and care. As you can tell, I am a big fan of having really any of my food in the bowl format. But essentially what we're looking for here is lots of flavors, lots of textures, usually, a few different types of ingredients. So what we're going to look at here is just a little, let's call it an infographic or a sample of what you're looking for. So bowl, gotta be the main part of it. Then usually we have some sort of grain type base. It can be really consistent too if you have something that maybe is a mixture of a whole bunch of different grains and kind of make that your signature. So again, keeping that constant will really help with that efficiency back of house. Always dress that grain with a dressing. I like to use vinaigrettes for the base of it. We know that there are a lot of great flavors out there. You can either make the base of that bowl with that dressing kind of that pop of flavor and have complementary toppings on it, or you could have it be a little bit more subtle and rely on a drizzle or a sauce on top. So then next we go into building on top of that dressed grain base, and that's where we see something like a protein, veggies, maybe it's different fruit. The care that you put into each of these individual ingredients is actually quite important. So making sure that there's some flavor to that protein that you have in there, that there's maybe a different technique that you've used for these types of vegetables. So you can see the example here is grilling asparagus rather than just putting, raw or blanched asparagus on the bowl. It really adds that complexity because that's what we're looking for to really drive that consumer satisfaction. The next thing we look at here is we have our drizzle of some sort. So I'm thinking of, here we have a spicy mayo, but this could also be, a tahini dressing, a creamy dressing. It could be your guacamole, something else that adds that creaminess to it and has a complementary flavor to, again, that vinaigrette that you're using as the base. And then we have our toppings, and this is where I love to see things that are bright in color, have lots of texture, especially when we're thinking about summertime menus. Really leverage what's in season, of course, what you can cross-utilize back of house. And this is where I typically like to see either a seed or a nut. Maybe there's some crumbled cheeses on there. And I love the idea of doing some fruit. So we're going to look at one of our bowls today that I'm going to demo for you. That's a great idea for summer. Malika, is there anything else that you wanted to?
No, I can say, well, in terms of the bowl you're building today, we're going to see that now. A lot of if we're looking at the menu adoption cycle, many of the ingredients you're using for the summer bowl, like quinoa and pickled red onion, are in proliferation, which means they are still on the list of consumers' favorite, and they haven't gotten tired of these flavors yet. And other ingredients that I think you're using, like goat cheese, are still in adoption phase, which means consumers are still exploring these flavors. So it's really a great combination that you have here today based on trends.
It's funny, you just reminded me. You said goat cheese, and I'm like, oh, it's still in the fridge. So thank you for saying that. Otherwise, I would have been standing here just like aimlessly looking around. So as Malika mentioned, I'm using quinoa. So my blend today, I'm actually also using a short grain brown rice. So again, this will also help with your food cost, using these grains, having them in bulk, having that, again, be that base of the bowl. Nobody wants to cut into a bowl and just have this plain rice sitting on the bottom. They'll know immediately that it's filler. So what are we going to dress it with? Today we're using the sun-dried tomato Hellmann's vinaigrette. It actually has a little bit of a creamier viscosity to it, although not as creamy as you'd see with like a ranch or a Caesar. So I'm going to really make sure that that gets saturated quite well with all of the different grains.
I have a couple of questions for both of you. So I'm making my notes here. So I have a few questions. One, do you see a lot of, first of all, bowls are brilliant for, like you said, cost. And I think the nice thing about, and we're talking about this today, I got a presentation from the organization today about this, but is menus are changing so frequently nowadays, right? With like digital menus, and you can flip your bowls all the time, right? Like you could change your bowl all the time based on food cost. Like you could literally win at these food inflation that's hitting everyone really hard.
Absolutely. So like I was saying before, how you treat the ingredients is really going to be the important part. And then it's going to be flavor combinations. So we actually are coming out with a tool through Unilever Food Solutions and Hellmann's that will kind of help you do like a mix and match. Nice. So if you have a finite number of ingredients, which we do when we're back of house, it's really how do you just mix those to get a different presentation, a different kind of concept or flavor profile. And just very simple things need to be done. I had an operator asking me about kind of Asian influenced bowls. And I said, you know what, take any one of your dressings that you have and add a little bit of sesame oil to it. Because for me, it is such a strong flavor and it's so reminiscent of that type of cuisine, you can easily take it in any direction that you want by adding very little.
Yeah, and I think that's like, I think we're talking about a little food inflation everywhere. And I just think bowls are such a great way to combat it in so many different ways.
And I mean, this is not going anywhere. We know that we're going to be bombarded with high cost supply chain issues for quite the next, like over the next while. I wish I had a crystal ball. So yes, an excellent way to stay on trend and be conscientious of your food costs and your ingredients back of house. So I just added some baby arugula. I love pickling. Again, it's how you're going to treat the vegetables. It's complexity of flavor. So I have pickled red onion here, which I'm seeing in more and more menus. Really easy to either just prepare from scratch or buy pre-made. Of course, I do I do a half water, half distilled white vinegar, a bunch of sugar, bring it to a boil, remove it from the heat, and then throw in my sliced red onions, and it gives it that really lovely pink color. And then I actually did the same thing as well with some stone fruit. So we're thinking about summer, we're thinking about things that we're going to have access to, that maybe it's just bringing in one or two new items if it's not usually something you have. Same sort of pickling brine. which I know you don't typically see a lot of fruit being pickled, but again, that's what gives it that kind of interest point, something that's going to differentiate. So we have some peach here that I pickled, but of course plums, nectarines.
Oh, you pickled peaches, Chef? You pickled peaches?
I pickled peaches.
You
Say that
pickled-
10 times fast. Yeah, so again, just, you see that on a menu, and it's something that you traditionally wouldn't have a consumer be doing at home, which again is the main reason why we typically order what we do when we're out of house. Also why fried foods are still insanely popular. But yeah, having something like a pickled peach will make that sort of impact that you're looking for. So what am I going to do to kind of combat a lot of this acidity that we have in here? This is where I have my creamy goat cheese. So again, it could be a feta, it could be a creamy goat cheese. If you have a little bit of a higher price point, the one thing I love would be having burrata on here, but that could be a pipe dream for a lot of us. So having something like lovely burrata with your pickled stone fruit is just such a great combination, which would also be lovely with our Hellmann's balsamic vinaigrette, which has that really dark color and that really thick consistency to it. Not quite as deep as a reduction, but again, pretty amazing and some really great flavor. So we've got our goat cheese in there. And then, yes, we could very well keep this plant-based, vegetarian, have it as is, but I thought it would be really nice to do a little prosciutto chip. So these are just oven-baked pieces or slices of prosciutto. So again, a little bit goes a long way. Want to be conscientious of that food cost, but it's really about getting that complexity of flavor. So I know I'm the only one here that can smell this, but I'm getting a little bit of the aroma, the acidity from the pickling. I'm getting that sweetness from those peaches, and I'm getting a little bit of that smokiness from the prosciutto. So there's a lot of flavor going on here, and already not a ton of ingredients. So this is where I'm going to stop on this bowl, but I am going to put my drizzle, because if I didn't, I would have been a liar about the basics of bowls from earlier. So what we have here is the Hellmann's Caesar dressing. So we actually just reformulated this dressing. I am so happy.
So what's it taste like now, Chef?
So now it tastes more like Caesar dressing. Go figure. It really does actually have more garlic, more Parmesan. It's got some anchovy in there. So it is kind of more reminiscent of that classical Caesar type of dressing.
The more tradition where they used to make it at the table, kind of. Remember that?
Kinda. Oh, I miss those days.
Those are the 80s.
That was lovely. People should start doing that again.
I know they should.
So we have this beautiful bowl that you can see here, and I will be sending pictures over to Jay afterwards so that he can post them on socials, so that you can kind of see the end. Again, being able to have something that has this appeal to it can be served through any day part. There's absolutely lots of ways that you can make this for breakfast as well. Anytime you throw an egg on something, instant brunch item. So you start thinking about things like peaches and prosciutto, even on your quinoa, and you've got a poached egg, it's breakfast now. We're good. Malika knows what I'm talking about. She's from Quebec, which is the brunch capital of Canada, I think. I don't know if that's like an official thing, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Absolutely. And actually, Kyla, on this Caesar, if I may, going back on it, well, first, we've heard a lot of good feedback from our sales team and customers on the new formula. As we know, Caesar is a classic. I just wanted to say that it continues to be at the top of the chart for salad dressing flavors. It's absolutely the number one, with 52.5 penetration. And as you showed today, can be used. It's a great example in different applications beyond our traditional Caesar salad. But also for summer bowls, I'm sure you'll agree, Kyla, if people feel a little bit more adventurous, it can also be interesting to experiment with other trending flavors for dressings like pomegranate, green goddess, apple cider, cilantro lime, and even miso.
Yes, absolutely. And how easy it is to take these kind of classic dressings, although we do have some very interesting flavors as well, which you'll see in the next demo after a commercial. But with these, turning a vinaigrette, maybe adding some miso paste to our sun-dried tomato vinaigrette, really, really easy way to do it. Again, it doesn't have to be really expensive add-ins. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch of new SKUs. Even just adding hot sauce to something, or chipotle peppers. Gochujang is a great go-to. So yeah, there's a lot of different things that can be done with a really good core dressing, and especially with these Hellmann's dressings where they have a really nice emulsified viscosity to them. So regardless of what extra ingredients you're adding to it, you know that they'll be stable. So that would also be the difference between either making a dressing from scratch or having other dressings where it's more like a classic vinaigrette where we call it two-phase, where they're very separated dressings. So there's a huge benefit to adding different flavors and an opportunity to explore.
That's huge.
Yeah. I'd say it's not enough time during the commercial for me to eat this entire bowl. Plus I haven't taken the picture yet, but I think we're ready to roll your commercial, Jay.
Yeah, we'll be right back. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Cisco's Virtual Kitchen. Unilever's in the house, overtaking the studio today with amazing ideas and bowls. So, Chef, over to you again.
Thank you. And also very excited to be attending the Restaurants Canada show that we just saw the ad for. Yeah. And although Unilever will not have a booth there, I will be present doing a Fair Kitchens booth. So for those that you don't know what it is, please come to the Sustainability Pavilion and check it out, because I'll be very excited to talk to you about it. And we can talk about bowls too if you want. So, sorry, Jay?
I said we can talk about bowls.
Yeah, we can also talk about
Sit down and talk about bowls.
Obviously. I do love a bowl, and this is the thing. Is a bowl for everybody? This is what we want to know. And so I went out and interviewed some people that had their opinions on what they think a bowl is and how they feel about it. Jay?
Here we go.
So when I think of a bowl, I think of a salad bowl. So lots of fruits and vegetables, but maybe also something more substantial like protein, such as chickpeas or some type of meat.
All right, when I think of a salad bowl or a bowl, an edible bowl, I think of the one from Tim Hortons, chili bowl. You take a little piece off, dip it in the chili. It's delicious. It's great. My favorite ingredient would have to be probably chicken or beef. Those are my two tops.
What comes to mind would be the carnitas bowl I get from say Chipotle or any Mexican place. My favorite ingredients would be corn and cilantro and salsa in the bowl.
What I consider a bowl is to be a complete meal with multiple different components over some sort of base. So my favorite type of bowl is a grain bowl, which is my favorite base. And some of the favorite ingredients that I like are edamame, pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds, and then you gotta have a double sauce. So either something like a spicy mayo drizzle on the top and something to flavor the grains. So one of my favorite foods.
All right, when I think of a bowl, I think of the convenience of having a whole meal in one spot. The type of bowl I like the best is probably a poke bowl. The ingredient that I like in my bowls would be avocado, and a tangy type of sauce.
So I think that kind of answers our question. There is a bowl for everybody. Malika, what are you seeing about those that like bowls?
Yeah, so a little bit like we saw in the video, when it comes to bowls, it's actually as popular amongst men and women. So although in other trends, we're seeing more towards women like for salads, but when it comes to bowls, it's pretty equal between the two, just like it was reflected here. A little bit more popular with Gen Z and millennials. I would say probably because of the healthy aspect and of it. And then more popular with people who follow a vegan or vegetarian diet, but a little bit like Jay was saying before, they can easily be modified to be either like a plant-based bowl or with meat protein. And I think you're going to speak a little bit more about that. So
absolutely, yeah. It's I mean, we think about it as potentially being a healthier item, but we know that that's not always the case. But nevertheless, a bowl is a beautiful thing. So what I thought would be really fun is taking some of the favorite ingredients from the people that were very willing to share their secrets about how they feel about bowls, and create a bowl that is for everybody. I'm not going to go as far and say that this is a kitchen sink bowl. It's more refined than that. And I think you'll see too that there's great flavor combinations to be had. And again, using a good quality dressing that really pops with that flavor will tie it all together. So again, to be true to my word, I'm going to continue to use that same base that I had before. So this is where we have our multicolored quinoa and our short grain brown rice. And of course, I'm going to dress it in a vinaigrette. Again, to make sure that every single bite of a bowl is just delicious as every other. So the dressing that I'm going to use here is actually one of our newer flavors that we have, and this is a lemon za'atar vinaigrette. So again, the lemon notes of it, I often say very closely resemble that of a Meyer lemon. It's got that brightness to it and a little bit of a floral. And of course, you know, it's got a za'atar, so our Middle Eastern spice herb mixture, which will have some thyme and oregano notes in there. They're not so strong that this could also not be a house dressing, but it does have that flavor that really drives through. And it was actually why we had created some of our newer flavors, was specifically for grain bowls, knowing that a lot of them don't have a lot of flavor, the grains, and being able to really have something come through a lot more. Okay, I did the dressing.
Chef, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What's some of the common mistakes people do with bowls, other than putting it on a plate?
So I think that, you know, not doing the things I said. Oh man, that sounds like all the relationships. No, I'm kidding. That's horrible. But I think one of the bigger mistakes is not dressing your grains. Okay. Again, taking a bite and then you're left with all this like plain quinoa or rice at the bottom. Horrible. And then again, not taking care in all of the ingredients. You can't just throw everything in the bowl and expect that it's going to be amazing. People will notice, your customers will notice, and you can tell with every single bite that you have. So it's making sure that, you know, complexity with either grilling or roasting or pickling are part of what you're doing. The other beautiful thing too is that when you do those with your ingredients, it helps write the menu itself, right? So we talked about that too, of, I know it's kind of a lame term, but romancing the menu. You know, how much better is it to have, you know, pickled peaches with creamy goat cheese and crisp prosciutto as opposed to peaches, prosciutto, and some goat cheese? You know, having those defining kind of terms to it, descriptors, really makes a big difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah. You can tell, again, I'm a big bowl fan. So what we're going to do with this is we tossed it in the lemon vinaigrette, so just a really nice light base. That's how we're going to also help make all of these ingredients that were called out in the video kind of work together. The next thing I want to do here, I'm actually going to mix this into the base a little bit more. So traditionally when I build a bowl, I kind of like to do it Cobb salad style. The diner will obviously, the customer will end up eventually mixing the bowl themselves, but for presentation's sake, I like to kind of compartmentalize the toppings. So this is where I'm gonna add my edamame that I had in there. Chickpeas got called out as well, so I'm gonna add those in there. I actually probably should have mixed this up in the other bowl, but here we go. So that's nice too, is adding more interest to it, either through legumes, different vegetables that can really sit nicely with that bowl. It already is starting to look really great. The other thing too that I'm immediately thinking is, if I'm pre-dressing anything at some point and I have extra, why wouldn't I use this as a stir-fry base? Something that has edamame and chickpeas and rice already. So again, we're making sure that we're getting the most out of it. For a bowl, you want to make sure you have freshness, but there's ways to definitely utilize those leftover ingredients to make it into another LTO offering, another entree, perhaps a side to anything that you might have. Again, you know, we're thinking about summer menus. If we have, let's say, barbecued meats, this would make a lovely little side salad to it, right? And something that has, again, that kind of, I call it like peaky flavor with the lemon coming through. So something to offset, you know, that deep richness of a barbecued meat sort of thing. So we have that base. I'm going to add some cabbage to that. So again, very, very summery. And a cabbage mix is, I mean, it works for so many different types of cuisine. So it's just a great thing to have on your menu. It is still growing in popularity, or has sustained its popularity, which is great because it tends to be less expensive, which is something that we're going for right now. I'm also going to be adding some tomatoes, some cucumber. So again, we're looking at contrast of color. So that's something that we want to watch out for when we're building these as well. These are just halved cherry tomatoes, cucumber, again, getting that texture and that crunchiness to offset kind of that quinoa rice mixture at the bottom. And then we are going to do a pulled beef. So again, this is how we're going to kind of make it a bowl for everyone. Again, you could maintain this as being vegetarian with the other ingredients that I'm going to be adding afterwards. But I wanted to add something because, again, you saw that mixture of male and female responding. And I don't mean to generalize, but typically, you know, there was the one gentleman who had called out the chili bowl. We'll see that men are going to typically go for something that's a little bit heartier or a little bit more, I guess, perception of filling. And a lot of that will have to do with meats. So when we talk about summer menus, we may even have, you know, leftovers of, you know, that's how burnt ends ended up being a thing, is having extras from your briskets or whatever else it might be. This is a great place to use it because it doesn't have to be an entire formed protein. It could be, you know, some chopped up pieces of chicken that were left over from either rotisserie or, you know, grilling other pieces of chicken. So again, a great way to utilize these leftovers or extras that we might have, but in a way that looks very thoughtful, right? Because that's a we don't want that to come across as that you just threw it all together and you're just using extras of everything. So this beef, I actually tossed in, I'm sorry, Jay, I didn't give you the code for it.
It's okay.
But Cisco does carry this, is our Hellman's Ancho Chipotle real sauce, because we keep it real. No, the ancho chipotle is a mixture of the ancho pepper and the chipotle pepper, and it has a very creamy consistency and is 100% heat stable. You could bring that to a boil and it would be completely fine. So it's great to toss meats in. You can braise meats in it. You can add it to gravy to add flavor. Very, very versatile product. So that's what I've done here. So it has that smokiness to it. And then the last little bits I'm going to do is we got a pumpkin seed call out. Pumpkin seeds are going to be very popular over the next little bit as an alternative, of course, not having any nuts in the kitchen, which I see is very common. I'm going to do some avocado. If you're not bringing in either like frozen avocado or fresh avocado, which is obviously ideal, but who knows what we can get when we can get it. So using guacamole instead, is prepared guacamole is a completely acceptable way to do this as well. It's all about these little hacks. What else can we do? So got a little bit of avocado. And then the piece de resistance is our Hellman spicy mayo. So it is red jalapenos and it's cayenne. So it's got like a kick. So, you know, if you're gonna go spicy, go big. This is gonna be our topper, but you can also use this spicy mayo to toss warm fried items in. Of course, they're great as dips as well. I've even done an excellent wing sauce. If you do a little bit of maple syrup and honey and the spicy mayo, toss them when your wings either come out of the fryer or off the grill. If we're doing summer menus, hopefully we can do some grilled wings. So we've got this beautiful bright bowl, and again, I will take a photo and Jay will share it on the Cisco socials. So I've got a lovely lunch going on here.
Do you?
That's for sure. Malika, I wish you weren't so far away.
Yeah, I'm feeling hungry right now. And actually, it's worth noting on just a note on spicy mayo. So in Canada, this has doubled in penetration in the past 5 years. We're seeing this not just in bowls, but different applications. And what's interesting, it shares some of the same top ingredient pairing as bowls. So top ingredient pairing for both chicken, avocado, and onion. And you're seeing that for spicy mayo as well, which makes it, like you said, the perfect ingredient to add flavor to any bowl in an easy way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. If any of you saw one of our first sessions, I think, when we started doing these Cisco virtual kitchens, I heavily featured the spicy mayo and had a 4-liter jug with me at home. It's long gone. So I do love me some spicy mayo. So that is our bowl for everybody. I believe that we have a very important commercial coming up, Jay.
Yes, we do. So we're going to break and then we'll come back and then we'll wrap up a little bit, talk a little bit more, and we'll be right back after this. Here we go. All right, we're back.
Thank you so much, Jay. As I had mentioned earlier, we will be at the Restaurants Canada show supporting Fair Kitchens. And also when you come by to talk to me about bowls, we can talk about leadership training. It really is phenomenal. Anyway, back to bowls. What I wanted to share with you again is multi-application of a convenience dressing. That's what I call them, but they're lovely. I should just call them liquid flavorings. But we wanted to show you some quick applications using our honey Dijon dressing. Jay?
Honey Dijon dressing video coming up right now. Yeah.
So as soon as I started seeing those, which we do have a variety of different videos that are available to you to get some inspiration, I immediately started thinking about sauces to put on proteins. And that's something that I just kind of wanted to close out this episode with was, you know, it can be so much more than bowls. When you have amazing flavors and like I had said, you know, very stable dressings, the capabilities that you can do that you have with them are phenomenal, because I think, especially as we know it, let's just call it out, but, decrease in labor, we've got supply chain issues, food shortages. This is something we are all experiencing. Don't forget the inflation. I don't think we can, unfortunately. But it's how do we get the most out of what we do have back of house? And that's why it is so important to be able to leverage a lot of these flavors. Recognize we're not center of the plate here at Hellmann's. But it does help really support a lot of the trends, drives a lot of flavor, excitement for your consumers, your everybody that's getting together again at your restaurant now that things are coming back, and we're all just eager to get into the summer and dine together. So again, we have the whole core of classic dressings, but really interesting flavors and a lot of resources that can help support you and your business. So as I had mentioned, we have more videos such as that for a lot of our dressings, as well as a huge variety of recipes around bowls, but also different applications for a lot of the dressings that we have. So again, whether it's proteins for grilling, etc. The other thing that we have as well is our UFS Academy that I always talk about every time we're on here, because I think it's an amazing resource that we have. And we have different little training seminars, absolutely free. You just have to sign up for it on our site. And it can cover a whole bunch of things like, different methods of cooking. So again, if we're short on labor and we don't have a lot of time for training, new hires can watch these. It's the basic techniques, but also ideas around how to really leverage plant-based is another one. So it's a really, really cool resource that you have available to you. And it doesn't hurt that it's free. And thank you, Jay, for sharing our website there. So fairly easy to navigate. And of course, always reach out to your Cisco rep. They will also connect you with us. So you have a lot of resources available to you. And I'm just gonna say last plug, don't forget about Fair Kitchens. Has nothing to do with bowls, but if you're gonna be at the RC show, come say hi.
And first of all, you guys have, and I've said this before because we did an Influencer Friday a few weeks ago with Chef Ali, and we were on your website here. You guys have the best website, just so you know. You have
really? That's so. I will pass it along, Jay. They will be so happy to hear that.
I've seen a lot of websites working with hundreds of companies out there. You have the best and most, and it's not just the recipes and ideas. It's stuff like the academy that you guys do, the UFS Academy.
Yeah.
The Fair Kitchens. I'm looking at you guys got marketing things here. This is what you guys do, shows that you really do care about the customers that are out there, the market, the place. Unbelievable what Unilever does. And I've always said you guys are a stand-up, awesome company, what you guys do. So
thank you for saying that, Jay. And I'm going to speak on behalf of Blake and myself, and I know we're very lucky to work for this company. But I think that's exactly it, is we genuinely are providing solutions. The customers that work directly with us, they know that. And so we're here to help. And if you ever have any questions or recommendations on things that can help more, we're all ears. So again, thank you, Jay, for showing that. Any resources, I think at this point are well accepted by everybody. We just all need to help each other get going again.
I totally agree. And I think all the resources that you have, all the resources that we have at Cisco, we have enough here to help you out. So please use them. I run into so many restaurateurs and people over the years and stuff like that. Just talk about different things that they could be doing. I see, we have all these resources. You don't need to do it. You're not alone in this kind of thing, right? Yeah. And after COVID, I wouldn't say after COVID, but we're in this weird stage now. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to help you. And also, we just don't know what that next curve is or change is or what we're going to deal with. So getting out there and getting support from others that maybe have insights or data or information that can help you make decisions, go for it. That's what we do. Yeah. There you go. I'm sorry. I love doing shows with you guys. It's so much.
We do too. Thank you so much for having us.
Awesome. So that's a wrap, folks. And thanks so much, Chef and Malika, you did 6 bombs. I don't know if I counted 6, Malika.
I think I did 5.
Yeah, okay. So anyways, thanks again so much. We're back tomorrow. We We got a palooza of shows this week, and then we're live also at the Restaurants Canada show next week as well. If you're going to the bar and beverage area, we're right outside there. We're going to have a studio there. Matt Rolfe is going to be joining me on Monday and Tuesday. We have over 25 companies we're going to be talking with, sharing ideas. And when we're going to stream out to the world, we're actually going to stream some people in to the Restaurants Canada show from around the world to join us and have some great fun at that amazing event. And I tell you, if you're not going to it, you're missing out. Try to make it time. It's 3 days. It's probably, it is like the Academy Awards of food service, right? Of going to it. So you got to go to it, check it out. And we're there. We have it. Cisco has a huge booth there. We're cooking up burgers. We got a plant-based burger there. You got to go try out. Get so many other things. So anyways, thank you so much for both of you to be on today's show. Show us great ideas around bowls. I'm just blown away because I think every restaurant needs a bowl going forward. So anyways, go buy some bowls and make some bowls.
Go have a bowl for lunch.
Exactly. Go have a bowl for lunch.
Or two.
Or two. Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone else. Have a great rest of your day. Get out there and support restaurants. Cheers.
Thanks.